Today I'm going to tell you about 42-year-old Yusuf al-Zahra's story from Gaza, Palestine. He had saved for 15 years to buy gold jewelry for his son's wedding, 15 years of putting aside every spare coin to ensure his eldest child would have a proper celebration. But when his 8-year-old daughter Rania needed life-saving surgery, Yusuf faced the most heartbreaking choice any father could imagine. Would he sacrifice his son's future happiness to save his daughter's life? What would you do if you had to choose between one child's dreams and another child's survival? Imagine spending 15 years saving every penny for your child's wedding, then discovering that those savings are the only thing standing between your other child and death. I know this might tear your heart apart, but imagine if this were your own father facing such an impossible decision. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel so we can keep sharing these important stories from Palestine. What did Yusuf choose to sacrifice for his daughter? And how did this decision change his entire family forever? Stay with me until the end to find out. 42-year-old Yusuf al-Zahra had always been a man who planned for the future. Working as a carpenter in Gaza City, Palestine, he earned modest wages building furniture and repairing homes throughout his neighborhood. But what set Yusuf apart from other fathers was his unwavering dedication to ensuring his children would have better lives than his own. Every week, without fail, he would take a portion of his earnings and carefully place it in a small metal box hidden beneath his bedroom floor. Yusuf and his wife Miriam had been blessed with 3 children who were the light of their lives. 22-year-old Tariq was their eldest son, a gentle young man who worked as a teacher and had recently become engaged to Nadia, a lovely girl from a neighboring family. 18-year-old Layla was their middle child, a brilliant student who was studying to become a nurse and dreamed of helping sick children. And 8-year-old Rania was their youngest, a spirited little girl with curious eyes who brought laughter to their home every single day. For 15 years, ever since Tariq was 7 years old, Yusuf had been saving money specifically for his son's wedding. In Palestinian culture, a father's greatest pride comes from being able to provide his son with gold jewelry for his bride, a tradition that shows respect for the new family and ensures the couple starts their marriage with security and dignity. One day, my son, Yusuf would tell young Tariq as they worked together in his carpentry workshop, "You will marry a beautiful girl, and Baba will make sure you have the finest gold jewelry to give her family." This is what fathers do for their sons. The metal box beneath their bedroom floor had grown heavier each year. Yusuf had saved for gold bracelets, necklaces, and earrings, a complete set that would be worthy of any bride's family. He had calculated exactly how much he needed and had sacrificed countless small pleasures to reach his goal. When other families bought new clothes for holidays, the al-Zahra family made do with what they had. When neighbors upgraded their furniture, Yusuf continued using the same simple pieces he had built years earlier. Miriam had supported her husband's dedication completely, even when it meant going without things she wanted for their home. "Our children's futures are more important than our comfort today," she would say when friends asked why they lived so modestly despite Yusuf's steady work. The savings had reached nearly the full amount needed when Tariq announced his engagement to Nadia 6 months earlier. The wedding was planned for the following spring, and Yusuf had felt the deep satisfaction of knowing he could fulfill his promise to his son. The gold jewelry had already been selected at Abu Muhammad's shop in Gaza City, and Yusuf made monthly payments to reserve the beautiful set. If this story is already touching your heart as a parent, please give it a like. Can you imagine working for 15 years toward one goal, only to face losing everything for an even more important reason? Let's continue with Yusuf's incredible test of fatherly love. 3 months before Tariq's wedding, 8-year-old Rania began complaining of stomach pains that kept her awake at night. At first, Miriam thought it might be something she had eaten, but when the pain persisted and Rania began losing weight, Yusuf insisted they take her to Al-Shifa Hospital for examination. Dr. Salim, a kind pediatrician who had treated many children in their neighborhood, ran several tests on Rania before calling Yusuf and Miriam into his office for a conversation that would change their lives forever. "Mr. and Mrs. al-Zahra," Dr. Salim said gently, "Rania has a serious condition that requires immediate surgical intervention. There is a large mass in her abdomen that must be removed as soon as possible. Without this surgery, her condition will become life-threatening very quickly." The room seemed to spin around Yusuf as he tried to process this devastating news. His little Rania, who had been running around their house just weeks earlier, needed surgery to save her life. "What kind of surgery?" Miriam asked, her voice trembling as she reached for Yusuf's hand. Dr. Salim explained the complex procedure that would be required and the specialized care Rania would need afterward. The surgery must be performed at a private hospital with advanced equipment. The total cost, including the operation and recovery period, will be approximately $12,000. $12,000. Almost exactly the amount Yusuf had saved for Tariq's wedding jewelry. That night, the Al-Zahra family sat around their small kitchen table in stunned silence. The money that was supposed to celebrate Tariq's new beginning was now the only thing that could save Rania's life. But if they used the savings for Rania's surgery, there would be nothing left for Tariq's wedding jewelry, a situation that would bring shame to their family and disappointment to Nadia's parents, who were expecting the traditional gifts. "We'll find another way," Miriam said finally, though her voice lacked conviction. "Maybe we can borrow money, or ask relatives for help, or—" But Yusuf had already made up his mind. Looking at his family, his sick little daughter who needed surgery to live, his son who deserved the wedding he had been promised, his wife who had supported their savings plan for 15 years, he knew there was only one choice he could make. "There is no other way," Yusuf said quietly. "And there is no decision to make. Rania's life is more important than any wedding jewelry. More important than any tradition. More important than anything else in this world." Tariq looked at his father with a mixture of understanding and heartbreak. He had known about the savings since he was a child, had watched his father make countless sacrifices to accumulate that money. "Baba, I can't let you give up 15 years of work for me." "My son," Yusuf replied, placing his weathered hand on Tariq's shoulder, "the greatest gift I can give you is a living sister who will dance at your wedding. Gold jewelry can be replaced. Your sister cannot." The decision was made that night, though it broke everyone's heart. The next morning, Yusuf went to Abu Muhammad's jewelry shop and explained that he needed to cancel his order and withdraw all the money he had paid toward Tariq's wedding jewelry. Abu Muhammad, who had known the Al-Zahra family for years, listened to Yusuf's explanation with tears in his eyes. "Brother Yusuf," he said, "you are making the choice of a true father. May Allah bless your sacrifice and heal your daughter." With the money that had been saved for Tariq's wedding, the family was able to arrange for Rania's surgery at a private hospital in Gaza City. The operation was scheduled for the following week, and Dr. Salim assured them that if the surgery was successful, Rania would make a complete recovery. During the week before Rania's surgery, word of Yusuf's sacrifice began to spread through their neighborhood. Other parents, understanding the impossible choice he had made, began to stop by their house to offer support and encouragement. Hassan, an elderly woman who lived nearby, brought homemade soup for Rania and said to Yusuf, "You have shown us what real fatherhood looks like. Your children are blessed to have a father who values their lives above all else." When will parents be able to afford both their children's medical needs and their cultural celebrations? When will families not have to choose between saving one child's life and honoring another child's traditions? Every family deserves access to healthcare that doesn't require destroying years of dreams and planning. The surgery took place on a Wednesday morning, with Yusuf, Miriam, Tariq, and Layla waiting anxiously in the hospital corridor for 4 hours while Dr. Salim and his team worked to save Rania's life. When the surgeon finally emerged from the operating room with a smile on his face, the entire family broke down in tears of relief. "The surgery was completely successful," Dr. Salim announced. "We were able to remove the mass entirely, and Rania should make a full recovery. She's going to be fine." But even as they celebrated Rania's successful surgery, the family had to face the reality of what Yusuf's sacrifice meant for Tariq's upcoming wedding. Without the traditional gold jewelry to present to Nadia's family, the wedding would have to be postponed indefinitely, or possibly cancelled altogether. Tariq had already spoken with Nadia about the situation, and she had assured him that she understood completely. "Your father did what any good father would do," she had told him. "I would rather marry a man whose family values life above tradition than someone who puts customs before family." But Nadia's parents were less understanding. When they learned that the Al-Zahra family would not be able to provide the expected wedding jewelry, they began to have second thoughts about the marriage. In Palestinian culture, the groom's family's inability to provide proper gifts is often seen as a sign of financial instability or lack of commitment to the marriage. 3 weeks after Rania's surgery, as she was recovering beautifully at home, Nadia's father came to visit Yusuf with disappointing news. "Brother Yusuf," he said uncomfortably, "I understand the difficult situation your family has faced, but my wife and I are concerned about proceeding with the wedding without the traditional arrangements." Yusuf felt his heartbreak as he realized that his sacrifice to save Rania's life might cost Tariq his chance at marriage and happiness. But before he could respond, something unexpected happened that would restore his faith in human goodness. Abu Muhammad, the jeweler who had known about Yusuf's sacrifice, had been quietly working behind the scenes to help the Al-Zahra family. He had shared Yusuf's story with other business owners in Gaza City, and together they had organized what they called the Father's Honor Project. Dr. Salim, who had performed Rania's surgery, had been so moved by Yusuf's sacrifice that he had contacted Palestinian families living abroad to tell them about the carpenter who had given up his son's wedding jewelry to save his daughter's life. The response had been overwhelming. 2 months after Rania's surgery, Abu Muhammad appeared at the Al-Zahra family's door carrying a large wooden box. "Brother Yusuf," he said with tears in his eyes, "the community has heard about your sacrifice, and we cannot allow such a noble father to see his son's wedding cancelled because of his love for his daughter." Inside the box was a complete set of gold jewelry, more beautiful and valuable than anything Yusuf could have afforded with his 15 years of savings. Palestinian families from around the world had contributed to ensure that Tariq's wedding could proceed with even greater honor than originally planned. "This is not charity," Abu Muhammad explained. "This is recognition of a father's love and sacrifice. Your story has inspired people everywhere, and they wanted to honor your choice by ensuring that both your children, the one whose life you saved and the one whose wedding you protected, can be celebrated properly." When Nadia's family learned about the community's response to Yusuf's sacrifice, they were ashamed of their earlier concerns and renewed their enthusiasm for the wedding. The story of the father who gave up everything for his daughter's life had become a symbol of true family values. Tariq and Nadia's wedding took place 4 months later, with Rania, completely recovered and radiant with health, dancing joyfully at her brother's celebration. The gold jewelry that Yusuf presented to Nadia's family was not just beautiful, it represented an entire community's respect for a father's love. During the wedding ceremony, Tariq made a speech that brought tears to everyone's eyes. "Today I marry not just because my father provided for this celebration, but because he taught me what real love looks like. He showed me that family means protecting each other, no matter the cost. Nadia, you are not just marrying me, you are joining a family that values life above tradition and love above everything else." Today, 2 years later, the Al-Zahra family has become a symbol of hope and sacrifice throughout their community. Rania, now 10 years old, is completely healthy and excelling in school. She often tells people that she wants to become a doctor like Dr. Salim so she can help other sick children get better. Tariq and Nadia have a beautiful marriage and recently welcomed their first child, a daughter they named Rania in honor of the little girl whose life brought their family together in love and sacrifice. They are saving money for their own daughter's future, but they have also established a small fund to help other families facing medical emergencies. Layla completed her nursing studies and now works at Al-Shifa Hospital, where she often assists Dr. Salim in treating children. She says that watching her father's sacrifice taught her that healing isn't just about medical procedures, it's about the love that motivates people to do whatever it takes to protect the ones they care about. Yusuf has returned to his carpentry work, but now he also volunteers his time building furniture for families who cannot afford to buy new pieces. The community's response to his sacrifice taught him that when we give up something precious for love, the universe often finds a way to return even more than we gave. The metal box beneath the bedroom floor now contains savings for a different purpose, money that Yusuf and Mariam are accumulating to help other families facing impossible choices between medical needs and family celebrations. When will the world ensure that no father has to choose between saving one child's life and celebrating another child's happiness? When will healthcare be accessible enough that medical emergencies don't destroy families' dreams and plans? Every parent deserves the security of knowing they can provide both medical care and cultural celebrations for their children. If you believe that fathers like Yusuf should never have to sacrifice their children's future celebrations to save their children's lives, if you believe that both healthcare and family traditions should be affordable for everyone, please like this video so this story of sacrifice and community response can reach people who can make a difference. Right now, thousands of people are watching this story of a father's impossible choice and a community's beautiful response. Let's make sure Yusuf's message, that love means protecting family at any cost, and that communities can honor sacrifice by ensuring no one suffers alone, reaches every corner of the world. Can you imagine if your own father had to sell your wedding jewelry to save your sibling's life? Can you imagine if your family's most precious savings had to be sacrificed for a medical emergency? Think about the families in your community. How many might be facing similar impossible choices between medical needs and family celebrations? Every like, every comment shows that families like the Al-Zahras and fathers making impossible sacrifices are not forgotten. If you believe that sacrifice for family should be honored by community support, leave a Palestinian flag emoji in the comments. Subscribe to our channel to show that you stand with parents who choose love over tradition and communities that ensure no sacrifice goes unrecognized. Tomorrow we'll bring you another story that will remind you of the incredible power of family love and the way communities can transform individual sacrifice into collective healing. Don't miss it. Subscribe so we can continue sharing these important stories of parental devotion, community support, and hope from Palestine. Will you share a prayer for families like the Al-Zahras and all the communities that support parents facing impossible choices in the comments? They need our recognition, our support, and our commitment to ensuring that saving one child's life never means destroying another child's dreams. Note, the names mentioned in this story have been changed for privacy purposes. This story is inspired by real events experienced by families facing medical emergencies and communities supporting parents who make extraordinary sacrifices in Palestine.